What's up, everybody? Three amigos and a podcast. We're actually sans Ryan tonight, so
it's two amigos and a podcast, and our special guest host Harper.
Yeah, our reoccurring guest, secondary mascot of the show.
He's got his own line of dollies too.
Yeah, we got the Harper dollies. Harper's had a day today. This was like his Christmas today. He got a new bed. Shout out to Mama Debbie for the second new toy.
He's got a little crunchy whiskey bottle, so Harper can get his drink on.
Yep. Just like he's like, man, I see Dad drinking whiskey all the time. I want to be like him. Now you are, buddy. Now you are.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Good boy. But
look at that look.
But yeah, anyways, I wanted to just start off the podcast and, send out thoughts and prayers to Lebanon. I'm not Lebanese, but I have a close tie. My girlfriend is. The absolute tragedy that struck that country. Just something that they didn't need right now. They're dealing with a lot of political turmoil, the pandemic itself. So, it's just unbelievable what happened.
Those videos, man, I got chills when I saw them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolute chills.
Thoughts go out to those people, and
I felt terrible because it happened. I think it was around like 6 o'clock there, so I think that's somewhere around like 7, or I might be wrong with my time difference. Regardless, when I got up in the morning, I was scrolling Twitter, saw like a video of just like a fire, and it was like it was just an image of the fire, and it was like fire in Lebanon, and it was like this short little video, and I didn't really see the explosion. Like it was something completely different. It wasn't like this big giant thing. So Sarah had sent me like, oh, did you see it? And I was like, oh yeah, I saw like the fire. And she goes, no, it's this. And she sent me the links with these videos of just this massive explosion, and just absolutely just terrible what happened. Such a freak accident. And luckily her and her family, or not, she's not there, but her father's there with his sisters and other relatives and other family and stuff, so they're all safe. Unfortunately, one of my really good friends, he had a cousin that was there that lost their lives. So, just prayers for that, and just hopefully Lebanon can rebuild. I heard it was something like, so it was like something like 2,000 tons of ammonium nitrate that was confiscated that blew up or something. It was just unbelievable.
Wow. So we don't know. We still don't know what the cause of that is.
Well, they're saying that it was that ammonium nitrate, but they don't know what triggered it, which is kind of suspicious. But at the same time, it's like, man, I just really hope it was a mistake, because if it looks like some kind of act of war, some kind of
terrorist,
somebody tampered with something, like that's not even what that country needs right now.
It's not what just the world in general needs right now. We don't need wars on top of a pandemic right now. So hopefully it's just it's just something that is a tragic event that we can move past and go forward with going forward. But definitely, thoughts go out to the people that either lost their homes or their lives or loved ones that they've lost. And the video is just shocking. I remember I was looking at it, and I remember just thinking, like, damn, this looks like something that you'd see in a movie. Like this is like real shit. Like, and people are,
like that.
They're in chaos right now. Yeah. Like I would be, if I was living in Lebanon right now, I would be freaked out of my mind.
100%. And
so, thoughts go out. I mean, if
not
much more we can say. I mean,
if you have the resources for it and the time, all that kind of stuff, donate to the Lebanon's Red Cross. Just go to their website and put a donation, because like I said, this is a country that's on the brink. It was leading towards the brink of bankruptcy. They were leaning towards that way already, and now this explosion has cost like $2 billion worth of damage. So the country doesn't even have that much money right now to take care of this. So Yeah, anything helps. But yeah, anyways, how was getting to some lighter stuff? How you doing today, B?
Good. Just chilling. Another COVID pandemic summer week that's gone by.
I will say at least we've had like some really good weather.
Yeah, it's been really nice because I feel like everything's kind of in that low 80s is just kind of like I feel like it's a good number.
Exactly. Yeah, low 80s, not too humid and sticky. So,
and usually I feel like August / like September. That's usually when it's the hottest and muggiest. And we're now in August, so
yeah.
Actually, it's with our first podcast in August. So.
Oh yeah, it is. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than the East Coast and dealing with that tropical storm / hurricane that's going on with all that rain and whatnot. So lucky for us, dealing with another beautiful day.
Nice. You do anything special this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend actually we're planning to go hang out with our friends Shelly and Chris. We're gonna go paddleboarding over in Mission Bay.
Stand-up paddleboarding?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be good. Actually, last weekend...
My dad does that shit every weekend. Well, for the most part, every weekend, but yeah.
Yeah? Last weekend, actually, or last Friday, I took the day off because Sarah had some family in town. Went down to Fiesta Island. Her uncle has some cool, like, aquatic stuff. Like, he's got a canoe and stand-up paddleboard and stuff.
Nice.
Took Harper on the stand-up paddleboard out into the bay. So he was laying on the board. I was paddling.
How did he handle it?
It was pretty good. Yeah, he slipped once and he fell in, so I had to like grab him real quick, pick him back up on the board. But
could he swim, or he was
close?
struggling?
He was close enough. He did swim a little bit, did a little doggy paddle, but so he was only in the water for a brief second. Only went under real quickly. But no, I didn't know he liked. I mean,
negligent father.
Didn't think he would like the water that much. But when we first showed up, man, like I swear, I've never had a dog that's so attached to me like him. Like confidently, I feel like I could walk him without a leash on. I'm not going to because I feel like that's kind of irresponsible. But just like he was off leash at Fiesta Island, just right on my heels the whole time. Her uncle was like, "Oh, do you like does he like the water? Will he swim?" I was like, "I don't know. Let's see." I just walked out knee deep, and he walked right out there with me. So, I mean,
he loves you.
Dude's attached, man. Stage 5 clinger for sure.
It's your son.
It's my son.
You have a kid now.
Oh God. Yeah, no, but he's
your kid's got a drinking problem.
He's got this bottle of whiskey.
He's all about that whiskey.
Yeah.
Whiskey life.
But no, so that was good. And yeah, so weekend plans this weekend doing that, and last weekend was good too. How about you? Any future plans?
Well, let's see. Last weekend, did some work on the house, and then went to this gourmet pizza joint. I think we went there once. Zia Pizza. You ever been there?
Yeah.
That place is so good.
Yeah, we went there and they had that. I want to say there was like pomegranates on it, maybe.
Yeah, no. They have a bunch of like exotic pizza. Overall, they got like some really good pizza, and it's been a long time since I've been there. It's nice supporting like the small businesses. I'm trying to like definitely make more of a conscientious effort to support the small businesses because
especially now
this virus is like killing off the small business. And watch this movie called The Walk. Do you ever see that?
No.
It's based on a true story. This guy Philip Petit, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, and he tight ropes across the Twin Towers. Like, this is a true story. And you just like see his whole journey on how it was like a lifelong goal for him and everything like that. And it's a really good movie. I was impressed and surprised. Got really good reviews. That's why I gave it a shot. And yeah, if you're out there, I definitely recommend watching it. It's a
All
good
right.
movie.
I feel like Jason Gordon-Levitt he's like a really good actor, really really good actor. Kind of like
yeah,
I would almost kind of compare him to a Christian Bale in the sense of like his commitment and level of acting, but he does these kind of odd movies
yeah,
and cult kind of roles.
he's got like so in this one he's playing a French guy and he's like faking a French accent the entire time. It could be better, but overall, it wasn't up to the point where I think that he's wearing like these like blue contacts, which are I think that annoys me more than like the accent.
Yeah.
But overall, it's like still like a really good story. It's a true story. It's basically like a guy who's got a dream and he's like sets out to accomplish it and it's just the entire thing is just crazy that people do stuff like that. And if you actually have like a fear of heights, I don't necessarily recommend watching this movie because the video, like just the way it's the CGI. It's not like he's actually doing this stuff, but it's like you get like a sense of like I don't know.
You're up on the tightrope.
Yeah,
with
what's the phobia of being up too high? I can't.
Fear of heights.
Yeah, but whatever the fear of heights is,
heightophobia.
That's what you'll have from watching it. So we did that, and then we did watch or go to the beach. We walked on the beach, Pacific Beach, and just kind of had like a pretty. I mean, during the pandemic, you can't do a whole lot other than like basically walk on the beach or stuff like that.
Things,
which is good if you're trying to save money, which is what we're trying to do right now. So.
Makes you kind of appreciate the little things a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's good for most people. We were talking about how it felt good to kind of be away from sports, have that separation before this whole thing, and now the sports is back. Like, damn it, you roped me back in.
I know. Yeah. Now, the little things seem insignificant because you're just like, oh man, the game's on tonight.
I gotta watch this game. It's the most important thing going on right now.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of sports, let's get into it. All right, sports. Let's do some sports.
We like sports. We don't care who knows.
We don't care who knows.
Shooting hoops to the Super Bowl.
I'll go first. I know you guys usually don't like to listen. You don't pay attention, so I'll get hockey out of the way.
Skip fast forward like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We're giving him 5 minutes. No, I'll give him 10 minutes.
It's the 30-second fast forward. Just hit that a bunch of times.
Yeah, and then if Dean's still talking, just keep doing it.
Keep going. Just skip to the next one. Anyways, we had the quarterfinals in the Stanley Cup playoffs for major or National Hockey League. So far, some great games. We had the New York Islanders get bounced as the first team by the Panthers. That was a 3-1 series victory. Today, Thursday, the Canucks won Game 3, so they're up 2-1 against the Minnesota Wild. First shutout of the series, and we've had some pretty exciting news. Quinn Hughes got his first goal on Tuesday, and
rookie.
Yeah, rookie. And Elias Pettersson, not a rookie, his second year, got his first playoff goal today. So boys look good. It is extremely interesting. Just a tiny breakdown of the series. So they dropped Game 1 against the Wild. Obviously, the Canucks are a very young team, smaller. With Besser,
where are the Wild
Bosher,
from?
Minnesota.
Yeah,
with Boho Horvat, Elias Pettersson,
that poor man.
Quinn Hughes. Like they're smaller, speedy guys, so they do have some good size to them. But it definitely seemed like Minnesota was trying to body him a little bit, play him rough, like get him off their edge.
Yeah.
And they took Game 1, but they adapted quickly, and they've taken the last 2 games. So 2-1. Their next game is going to be tomorrow at 7:40.
Have you been profiting on this win? Financially?
I have. Financially, I have been.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's always a benefit.
Yeah. I just can't do it. I can't bet on my own team.
Hey, man,
you won't catch me betting on my team. Just throwing that out there.
Just gotta,
I learned that lesson. I'm like, dude, I get pissed off when my team loses. Like, I don't want to compound that by losing money on top of it.
There's too many games, right? I'm not gonna bet on a game that I'm not watching. I'm gonna watch my team.
Oh, of course, that's a fact.
So it's like I'm gonna bet on them because I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah.
If they let me down, then they let me down. If I win. Go big, double sad, double happy, whatever.
Yeah. How did the Vegas Knights make the playoffs?
They did. So they actually have somewhat of a bye this week, and they're going to play next week in their top 4 seeding round robin. So they do like a little round robin tournament with the top 4 teams. So they'll play everyone, reseed them, and then we'll get into
So they already
conference.
had other teams do their first round, the quarterfinal of the playoffs, before they even had the seeding set for the top 4?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's basically how basketball is doing it, except, basketball was like if basketball ended and they're like, okay, these top 4 from each conferences are going to go. Everyone else, you play each other. Like everyone here for the last 8 games, you play each other to clinch for the playoffs. It was like that. They just had everyone play.
It just seems odd.
Everything's odd.
So those guys, just for example, the Canucks will be sitting around waiting for them to, or are they playing? So they're basically getting a first round bye, right? Or
so. In a sense, they're kind of getting a first round bye.
All top 4 are getting a first round bye.
But they're still going to have to play additional games before they play anybody else in this quarterfinal series.
Gotcha.
Because they have to play each other for 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So
they're playing an abbreviated series for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are 3-game series.
I feel like that sucks to be the top 4 seeds, though, doesn't it?
I mean, it kind of sucks overall. It's just
it's
just like a bunch of games played.
To me, it seems like the lower seeds got it better. We're like, all right, well, we just get to work. There's not like there's home court or home field advantage or whatever.
I will say I agree with you. I do think that the lower seeds kind of have it a little bit better, just in the sense of I think there's something to not only like it practicing against an opponent, but also practicing changing your game plan. You know what I mean? Like adapting on the fly and figuring out what works for you in certain situations. So they're getting just a little bit more exposure to that on this extended playoff series. That
did the Boston Bruins make the playoffs?
Did they? No, they did not.
You don't pay attention to the Eastern Conference. The Canucks should be in the Eastern Conference, right?
No. They're Western.
Oh, Vancouver, right?
Yeah, Vancouver's all the way over here.
Yeah. I was getting it mixed up with Toronto.
Oh, yeah. No, so Boston did make it. Sorry. I apologize.
How are they doing? Oh, Tampa, they're good too, aren't they?
Tampa's real good. So
is that part of the round robin too, or?
That is part of the round robin. Yes.
So they're not actually playing a full series against Tampa.
No.
Gotcha. I'm barely learning this whole NHL playoff because you just haven't been enlightening us as to the way that the NHL is run.
Well, I mean, I get
You're
like
lagging it.
I get 2 minutes to talk, and Ryan's over here like yawning and acting bored and all this kind of stuff.
Your sport.
I'm not gonna lie. Also, hockey's playoff is so confusing.
It is a weird setup.
It is super confusing because there's like some teams started now, some teams are starting later, and then they're gonna match up again. So, like even right now, it's a bracket more or less, right? But no one knows. After this round, no one knows who's gonna play next. Who's gonna play who next?
Yeah,
because everything.
That's always cool too. Because I think one of the things I like the most about playoffs are the brackets. There's something cool about the brackets.
I love a bracket, man.
You're like, all right, because certain teams are getting lucky because of a bracket, and other teams are getting fucked because of the bracket. Because you're like, oh shit, he's in a shitty part of the bracket. Oh, that means he's gonna have to play all hard teams all the way through.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh well, he's in the soft part of the bracket, so they had to cruise their way to.
They're getting
Like I'm just thinking,
that side of the bracket had a bunch of upsets, so they got to play a bunch of lower seeds.
I think in like the
whatever.
NBA last year, the Blazers made the Western Conference Finals. I'm like, you just got super fucking lucky on the bracket. Like,
yeah.
You're not good enough to be in the Western Conference Finals, but you were because you got the soft part of the bracket.
Do you remember early on in the pandemic when everyone was just doing brackets and rankings of everything? It was
we were near March Madness when this whole thing went down.
And yes, so we just led right into bracket territory.
You know what sucks is we didn't get our bracket out of our system because we're all about our brackets.
It's all about the brackets, man.
We're all about our brackets, and the NCAA tournament is the king of brackets.
And they just blue balled us like no other.
Yes, for sure. And especially us in San Diego because SDSU
was on a good a good run.
SDSU was primed for a really good seeding, and so we got big time blue ball.
In a lot of the mock brackets, they had a difficult road, like a difficult path. They were in a bad part of the bracket.
They still would have been like a 2 seed, right?
Yeah, but they would have been over in like the south or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I thought because they dropped down to a 2, they were going to be fine, weren't they? Because I remember as a 1 seed, they were in a bad bracket.
No, if they were in 1, they were like in the East, and all they had was like Gonzaga or something. But then when they were in the South, they had like Duke and Michigan and somebody else, and it was like, dude, that's just a difficult part of the bracket.
Us guys, we love our brackets.
I love brackets, dude. It's because you know what it is. It's simple, but the way it's spider webbed out makes it look complex. So you're like, dude, I'm a genius for figuring this bracket out. But you're like, just follow the fucking lines and you got your answer.
Well, it's just like, yeah, it's like, all right, head to head. You're like, okay, this team versus this team. Yeah, this team's better, so I'm taking that team. All right, let's just piece these together. You know what? This team, I don't think they're really that good. So I'm taking the team below them. Yeah, they're winning that.
Oh, yeah, they're winning that for sure.
And then you put them there and you're like, yeah, this is how we're doing it. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and then you piece it together like, yeah, that's my team.
You step back.
That is my team right there.
Oh, man. This is a beautiful bracket. I'm winning this for sure. But yeah, I felt like brackets were big early on in the brackets were big early on in the quarantine. Yeah. It was like rank or bracket of the like Disney movies or whatever. Bracket of this and that.
Yeah, I remember
top quarterbacks, and you're
I'm obviously on the Padres subreddit. I remember they were doing during the pandemic. They were doing top Padres of all time without Tony Gwynn included because
that's the easy win.
He's the easy win, and so like they were doing number 2, and they were doing the bracket and everything. And I was like, it's actually entertaining for the most part.
Yeah,
it like killed time because every other day they would have. The matchup
you could like vote and then
you were voting on
it,
and then whoever after 2 days that matchup was settled.
Man, I love brackets, not gonna lie.
So we were all getting our bracket fix on, and NCAA tournament didn't happen, and now we still haven't gotten our bracket fixed.
We're just yearning for
more
now. We're
not getting a good bracket fix, even if we love the NHL, because
it's all messed up.
Yeah, it's not a traditional bracket now.
No. What about the NBA? The NBA have a good bracket going on or not yet? Because they're still in their... they were doing 8 games, right?
So, yeah, it's a 8-game bubble. Like, it's like a bubble tournament or whatever.
So how many games are we into that last 8 game of the regular season?
Most teams are between 3 and 4 games into the bubble.
Okay.
So we still have probably about another week left in the regular... Yeah. The quote-unquote regular season. I think the bubble's been pretty good for the most part. It's creating a lot of drama. The Memphis Grizzlies they're slipping hard. I think that for me, and the Clippers still are in a little bit of a battle for the number 2 seed after they have lost 2 out of 3. They're for the most part they're probably going to be either in that 2 or 3 seed spot. But I think it'd be better for them to be in that 2 seed. But for me, it's weird. I was talking to my friend who is a Suns fan, and I'm more like drawn to the 8 seed more than anything, and my team has nothing to do with that 8 seed.
Why?
Because there's like 5 teams fighting for that seed right now.
So you're like fight for the last seed. Like
I just want to see who's going to be that 8th team.
It's like week 16 in the NFL.
For me, so for the Western Conference, the top 7 seeds, they're all locked. They're already making the playoffs.
Yeah.
The order could change. Basically, 2 and 3 could swap, and 4 through 6 could swap around. So, but for the most part, like 7 and 1 are pretty much locked in. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be the 7 seed, and the Lakers are the 1.
Why do you say they're guaranteed 7? They can't slip to 6? Like you don't think they could?
I don't think they're winning out to 6. They just lost today too to the Clippers, but.
So like they're the threshold. So there's 6.
There's just
like
a big,
6 is at here, and then there's like 2-3 game differential between 7.
4, 5, and 6 are like literally like a game apart.
Okay.
And 7 is like 3 games out. So it's
okay, that makes sense. I get you.
They're not
moving up. Okay, I understand now.
And so the Lakers literally locked up. They're
the first team to clinch.
Yeah, they're to clinch their seed. They've already clinched the playoffs. Long ago. It's exciting because Memphis has lost every game in the bubble. They're 0-4, and the Suns, who I think everyone would agree is lucky to be in the playoffs, has won every game in the bubble.
Well, weren't they the worst team in basketball last year?
Last year they were. I don't think they were the worst, but they were in the discussion.
They were battling for.
I think both the Knicks and the Cavs were the shittiest teams, but in the Western Conference, I think they're the worst team. And
but still, to go from like the worst team in your division,
they have a bunch of talent on their team. They're a very young team. I think they have some good pieces going forward, but they've won all 4 of their games, and so they're literally right in the thick of it. Yeah. And guess who else is right in the thick of it? The Spurs, who still have their playoff streak on the line. So if the Spurs make the playoffs, they'll keep that streak going since Tim Duncan era.
Yeah.
and I myself
longer
included,
than JJ.
Myself included, had them written off as not making the playoffs, and they're right there in the thick of it. Portland, the Trailblazers, I think they're just too talented to not make the playoffs, but they,
they're just not putting it together right now.
No, they didn't have that great of a regular season. They're starting to do really well in the bubble. So it's like you have. So like there's teams like the Kings aren't making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. The Pelicans have a really soft schedule, but I don't think they're making the playoffs either.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies, I don't think the Grizzlies are currently in the 8th seed. I don't think they're making the playoffs. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm thinking it's probably Portland. But the Suns are making it really interesting because they're playing really good right now, and they've won, their first 4 games in the bubble. And I think they're just playing dangerous. They're like that team in the NCAA tournament that's like, we don't deserve to be here, so we're playing loose and aggressive. Everyone else is kind of like, they're playing a little scared.
Nothing scarier than somebody has nothing to lose.
And that's what the Suns are right now. So they've been a fun thing to watch so far. And then in the Eastern Conference, they're pretty much locked up. Wizards are already out of it, so all 8 seeds are already set up to this point. It's just I would say where they are in the seeding's set, but all 8 teams that are currently in the playoffs are going to be in the playoffs. So, Eastern Conference kind of no drama. The Wizards, I think, don't deserve to be in the playoffs this bubble either.
Yeah.
More so than the Phoenix Suns, just because the Wizards, they just suck. They're like, I'm like, if you're like 20 games under, you don't deserve to be in this bubble.
That's true.
Like
it almost seems like they were like, well, we're doing it for the West, so we got to do it for the East.
Yeah, you're like, all right, like what the thing was is in the East, they invited 9 teams from the East, and there's 8 playoff spots. So they're like, all right, we'll throw the Wizards in there just to like keep it interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Next week, so we should have some resolution as to where they are, but some drama going on in the bubble. I'm excited. I feel like I'm not like the thing that makes it so cool is they're playing each other like every game. So it's not like let's say the Phoenix Suns were playing the Pacers earlier today. Both of the Pacers are a playoff team. The Suns are whatever. They're fighting for a playoff spot. But like they're all playing each other. So it's like Portland played I can't remember, like the Kings yesterday. Both of them are fighting for a playoff spot, so that game's really important for both teams.
Yeah.
And if your team loses it, it's a crucial blow. I mean, I like the traditional regular season, but this is still must watch.
It just adds a different flair, different spice to it. I do feel bad for your boy JJ Redick, though. I mean, it's the first year, and I think like. I don't want to get the seasons wrong, but it's like
he's never in his career. He's never missed the playoffs.
Oh, never?
Yeah,
and he's been in the league for how long?
I don't know. He's probably he's over 10 years.
Yeah. So plus 10 years, never missed the playoffs. Thought it was going to be a lock with Zion.
Yeah.
Misses. So.
I mean, he still could make it. They just got to get it going. There was a meme.
Oh, that's it. We are watching the Astros and the Diamondbacks game.
And the Diamondbacks just walked it off on a bases loaded double.
Yep. Walk-off double. Man.
And they were down 4-3.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
JJ, there's a meme that was going around. It's just JJ Redick, because the Clippers played him on Saturday, and the Clippers almost tied an NBA record for 3-pointers made in that game. They were just raining threes in it. And it's a picture of JJ, and he's like, I think he's like kind of laying on his back, kind of stretching.
Yeah.
And he just looks like he's like zoned out. And then there's like the memes like, when you realize your playoff streak's coming to an end.
Well, it's funny because when the Pelicans drafted Zion, JJ actually, I think he called him.
He came up to him and told him like, "Yeah, don't fuck this up for me." Basically,
this is my streak, and he fucked it up. So,
well, apparently, I mean, he does look a little doughy too. Zion doesn't look like.
Zion always look doughy though.
He does look a little doughy, but like
he's always looked doughy.
I think he's a little more on the doughy side. And I think it's funny that they like on a lot of these like
Zion looks like the kid that always rolls up to the park and you're like, "Hey man, like really you want to play basketball?" And then he just hoops out of nowhere.
Yeah, but
my neighbor used to be like that.
But you know Zion, you ain't dunking on that dude because he's built like a fucking linebacker.
Yeah, because he'll take you out.
Because he's built like a fat linebacker. But like,
if they were to redo Space Jam, he would be on the Monstars team. Yeah, because he looks like he fits in like that.
His head is so small compared to
that's what I'm saying.
His body.
He looks like them. That's how they all look.
I do think it's funny on like a lot of these NBA like advertisements and promotions. They've like slimmed him down and like made his muscles more defined. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
you're like,
it's like, is this either a really good picture of Zion or you enhanced him here?
You're like that dude looks like the cranberry sauce that comes out at Thanksgiving. Like he's got all the rolls on him. Yeah, like I could see all the lines. Like that. But
anyway, there's people criticizing that he's put on a little bit of weight going into the bubble, and then that compounded the fact that he's like kind of been battling injuries, and he's kind of just been a I don't know. He's literally the player that to watch on that team. Like, I mean, they have other good players, but like he's supposed to be the future face of the league once LeBron steps down. And I mean, he's off to a rough start. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Like I'm not hating on Zion. I think he is a tremendous talent, but I think he's oversized for the NBA, and I think the guy needs to slim down. LeBron was a little oversized too for a little bit. Now he's slimmed down. And he's
found his groove. I mean, obviously he's been doing it for forever. So
yeah, I mean, you can't. There's nothing but respect for LeBron because that guy is just. He's got everything. He's got the work ethic and he's got the natural born skill.
Yeah, 100% agree. But yeah, so next week we'll have a little bit more of a bracketology for the NHL and NBA. So
that's right.
That'll be a fun conversation there and kind of our predictions. Let's do some MLB, biggest segment of the day. So we'll take up the rest of the time with that. That's right. MLB, we're in our week 2. First week went smoothly, which. Shout out to these baseball players. Brandon, like you mentioned before, Rob Manfred almost was like threatening to call the season. So,
yeah,
shout out to them for kind of taking it
to heart.
Like, taking it seriously, not trying to just blow it off and saying we're going to go
We're seeing Marlins are back to playing. Who else was Phillies were in that series too, and I think the Phillies are back to playing. And
there was some games that are still postponed or some series
due to the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. They have a lot of players testing positive.
Cardinals and the Tigers.
So, I don't think it has anything to do with the Tigers. I think it's just the Tigers were scheduled to play.
That's
against
what I mean.
Cardinals,
That's the series
so
that was postponed.
You're only looking at a couple. I think it just depends on how well these teams regulate themselves, because I feel like the way that it's currently structured is different than the NHL and NBA, where they're giving the players a little bit more autonomy to do whatever they feel they want to do, and take with it what you will. I think that I personally think that you shouldn't give the players that much freedom, because that breeds the mistakes, and that's when you're getting these postponed games. And if you have too many postponed games, you have a log jam with scheduling, and you're affecting the
playoffs.
The quality. I think the quality of baseball that you're getting, and but at the same time, you're keeping your players happy because they're able to go home, see their families, and stuff like that, and you're hoping that the players can be responsible.
Yeah. And so far, it seems like they have been. Really, the majority.
Couple teams, it's outside of a couple teams.
Yeah, outside of a couple of teams, and even then, it seems like it's for the Phillies specifically. I'm not going to speak on the Marlins, but Phillies specifically, it was more of the grounds crew and staffing. not really. I think there was only 2 players that tested positive. So, the initial test came from staff.
Yeah, and they were also playing against the Marlins too. So it was kind of like, inevitable. Well, if one team's acting irresponsible, and that's the crazy thing about this is, the way that they have it set up where everybody's still playing at their home ballparks, there's travel still. And so if you don't nip these things in the bud right away, it can spiral really fast.
Yeah, and we've seen with how contagious this virus is, how out of hand it can get quickly.
And so that's why there's been so many postponed games is you have an outbreak and then series wrap up in 3 days. There's so many games coming and going so quickly that you could, quickly roll into doubleheader issues real fast.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're seeing it with the Yankees. Yankees didn't have an outbreak, but because they were playing a team that had an outbreak or were associated with an outbreak.
Yeah.
They're having scheduling issues themselves, and it's not like they even did anything wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so, but it seems like overall, a majority of baseball teams are doing very well. Like we said, only a small sample size of teams are going to have those kind of scheduling issues. So hopefully they can figure that out. But with week 2, another week of, looking at the Padres. We've seen some great things. Cronenworth is just been on somewhat of a tear.
He's playing well above, I think, everyone's expectations, probably outside of AJ Preller.
He is honestly taking advantage of every opportunity he has with Hosmer kind of taking a seat right now on the 10-day IL. Gets injected into the game, is doing everything he can to show that he should be on the field. And right now, I agree. I think he's putting his best foot forward, and the kid's looking great.
I mean, he's got a great swing, and I mean, he's not naturally a first baseman, and he's playing the position as if he's been like he was raised playing first. Guy, I think, is a natural shortstop and pitcher, and so which tells you that he's a good athlete. I think you traditionally look at the shortstop as
the most athletic
player on the field. I think the only position you could probably argue is maybe center field, but for the most part, I would put shortstop as the most athletic position.
Yeah, I agree.
And Cronenworth looks good, man. I mean, he's not just a throw-in in that Tommy Pham deal, and I mean, he's looking like the better player of the two up to this point. I mean, not hating on Pham, but he's outplaying Pham at this point.
Yeah,
like
so far he is. Excuse me. Also, we had Patino getting his call up. What was that, last night?
Yeah, he got called up like 2 days ago.
2 days ago, but he got his actual MLB debut last night. Yesterday, Wednesday.
So they're throwing him in the fire, trial by fire.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it a little bit, how we thought it was interesting. You were more or less hoping that he would get the traditional start or that kind of nod.
Yeah.
I kind of rebutted that with saying, it's a guy, he does throw in the high 90s, kind of touching 100 sometimes. So usually they kind of like to put those people in the bullpen.
It is nice to ease a guy into the whole thing. So I feel like having a guy start out in the bullpen is nice in that regard. But to be honest, obviously we all love to make the playoffs. I would just, we talk about trial by fire. I would love to see this guy actually play the position that he naturally plays, which is starting pitcher.
Yeah.
So, I would prefer to have him come in to start the game and, do whatever 4 or 5 innings. You could be really cautious of them because he's a flamethrower. You could do essentially what you're doing with Lucchesi right now, but instead of investing that playing time in Joey Lucchesi, you could invest that in Patino, who's a young arm. And when he got called up, I texted a few people. I texted you and Ryan, and I texted Enrique. And when I texted Enrique, he's like, "Oh, I think they're going to put him in the bullpen." And I was positive they were going to start him out in the rotation. because Lucchese's been struggling.
Yeah.
And I thought they could do essentially what I'm saying right now, where, take Lucchese's role, toss it out, and throw Patino in there. Mm-hmm. And not saying like we're done with Lucchese, but he hasn't done that exceptional, and he could be a long man in the bullpen at this point.
He could be. He could be like a Strom type.
Strom and Perdomo. I'm throwing him in that bunch there, and he's had his opportunities, but he hasn't fully taken advantage of it. And last year, I think I was pro Lucchese as our opening day starter. So that just shows you how
drop off of
how far he's fallen from grace. And
so with Patino coming up, and usually his name's synonymous with Mackenzie Gore. Do you think we're seeing Gore potentially getting a call up soon? I feel like Gore is definitely more traditional starter than Patino is. I don't know Patino as well as you do, so I'm just basing off what I saw. Like, obviously, he kind of remind me of Andres Munoz.
Yeah,
like a fastball slider guy.
Yeah.
Maybe his arm has
most pitchers
gas
are a
to it
2-pitch pitcher. Like nowadays, you have your guys like even Paddock. He's developing that third pitch, but if you have 2 dominant pitches, you can get by.
Yeah.
And I personally, I would, Mackenzie Gore's got a full bag of tricks. And I'm very confident Gore is going to be every bit as good as we think he's going to be, just like Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
But Patino, I definitely, I can understand being a little more reserved with him. But as far as your question about if Gore's getting called up, I think without a doubt we're going to see Gore this year. I don't know if it's going to be in the next week or two or whatever. I don't see it happening that soon, unless there's some unforeseen injury or even then, I really can't envision a scenario where Joey Lucchese gives up 10 runs in the next outing or something like that, or Zach Davies gives up that many, which I thought was also an interesting thing. I noticed tomorrow Zach Davies getting the nod, which is traditionally Lucchese's spot in the rotation, which I thought was odd in general because I thought Zach Davies would be that number 4 guy for us going forward. But assuming that Lucchese's getting bumped to that 5 spot, I would be interesting to see what their battle plan is going forward from a starting pitching rotation standpoint. And that really hasn't been our big issue up to this point in the season, though, is our starting pitching.
No, our starting pitching is, for the majority of it, kind of been like lights out. Obviously solid. They've made some mistakes and some people have struggled, but for the majority of it's they're not given the low team ERA from our starters. Definitely solid, 5+ innings out of each of them.
About 5 innings.
Yeah.
I think Paddock, we all knew he's a stud. And he's living up to it for a sophomore year too, which is good. Lamet is the guy who I'm like, damn, you've established yourself as that 1-2 punch at this point.
Yeah, I'm high on Lamet. I was high on Lamet earlier in the season. Great to see him. Garrett Richards, he kind of had a struggle his last outing, but for the majority of it, I think, he's a solid 5, and then you can go to the bullpen. But the biggest issue we've been having is our bullpen. It's like those bullpen arms are just killing games for us.
Well, it sucks, too, because going in, I know all of us as, Padre fans, we've been talking about how great our bullpen is. And I think our bullpen at some point is going to get, their act in gear. But it's just frustrating dropping games early because of the bullpen. And I really can't think of one game where we cruised to a victory up to this point in the season, even though we've won a lot of games.
Because even games when we call on, who we all thought was our bullpen ace with Kirby Yates, even when he comes in, it's kind of shaky. You know, he had
that game against the Dodgers. We had a 2-run lead, and first batter Bellinger just rips it out of the ballpark.
Beautiful home run though, man. That guy's got a stroke on him.
Yeah, he does. He's like he's teeing off.
That was a beautiful swing.
But to be fair, your Kirby Yates, your Mr. Control guy. It just doesn't seem like he has the same command of his pitches, and one of the things they brought up in the broadcast, and I thought was an interesting take, was, the fact that there's no fans in the stands and how that's playing a role on relievers. And they're so used to coming into these games
with so much noise around them.
So much noise and the pressure of winning and losing games. And, like, it almost feels like a scrimmage, where it's just like...
Like, who cares?
Yeah. And I'm sure he knows that this game matters. I'm not saying he doesn't, but at the same point, like, there's that same environment. Not, when they have those fake sounds of the fans cheering, I'm sure that's not for us. That's for the players, or at least it should be. Like,
I don't know. Are they playing them in stadium, or are they just broadcast?
So like on the broadcast, or like in the stadium, they're still doing like. There's still somebody out there like
doing the jumbotron
and
like
doing the music and stuff. And I'm sure the players are hearing that too. I mean,
I don't know if they're doing the crowd noise into the stadium, and if they do, then maybe somebody needs to turn it up a little bit more. Because like
turn up the volume.
Yeah, turn up the volume. Just really like
Kirby needs to get it going.
Like they needed to play like Chicago in the World Series in, what was that, 2015, 2016? Yeah, they need that kind of crowd noise when they're like, this is the loudest the stadium's ever been.
Yeah.
I need it to be fucking rocking.
Well, I didn't think of Kirby as a guy who kind of needs that to get going. So
I didn't either, but it brings up a great point that a lot of the time, especially closers, they come into a stadium that is at its loudest point in the night.
Yeah.
When whatever side you're on, you know what I mean? If you're trying to close out on the road, that opposing crowd is trying to yell at you on every pitch.
Yeah.
And if you're at home, every strikeout is a concert. So you know what I mean? Like, that's a great point. I didn't think about that, but maybe that's adding to him.
Also, just they had a I don't know if that was a pre or post game. They showed the highlight of it before one of the games, but I love the accountability Kirby Yates has. They were talking about, they interviewed him and he's like, I've sucked. Mm-hmm. I need to do better. Like, I love when players are just honest with themselves, and I feel like Kirby's one of those guys. There's nothing you can do. Like, it's not like when guys want to make excuses, that's when I have an issue. And he's not making excuses for himself. He's not saying, oh, the fans aren't there, so I'm not feeling it. No, he's like, I'm not executing my pitches. This is a problem. I need to address it. I need to pitch better.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's looking constructively to fix the problem as opposed to other players. And I feel like, to me, that reassures me that Kirby's going to, find a way to get it done.
Yeah, he's done it before. You can get back on track. I think the biggest thing, though, is he can't take his pug out to the beach,
Yeah,
like, I mean, COVID, he can't let loose like he used to.
Kirby was puffing the Magic Dragon while he's taking that pug out.
Oh, you know it,
because he always seems so lackadaisical. Like
fucking chill.
He's just chilling,
man. Why do I need to take that drug test?
Don't worry about it. Fucker.
I pass on grass all the time. Well, not all the time.
Yeah. So, bottom line, though, who's been really good is Drew Pomeranz, which sucks that we're like associating Padres bullpen as being shitty, because Drew Pomeranz has been lights out. I think he's the one piece in the bullpen. He comes in, I have every bit of confidence he's going to get the job done. Yeah, no, I agree. And it's always, it's good to give, recognize the guys that are doing good for us. And as much as it pains us to say, I think we got to give Will Myers a little bit of props. I mean, that guy has been solid in the 6-hole, just sitting there, like
every day penciled in 6 spot, and the dude's just he sparks a life in the middle of the lineup.
I've been definitely impressed with his power because I feel like in years past he's been swinging for the fence and he hasn't gotten the results.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it seems like I wouldn't say he's the most. He's not. He still hasn't developed the discipline that I think he needs to have to be like worth his contract that he's got. But overall, I've been impressed with the results that we're getting from him.
Yeah.
And, he's one of those guys who's up at the plate. I'm not like cringing like, damn, well, inning's over.
No, yeah.
Like
I mean, I texted you guys the other day. It was, he
jacked one out yesterday.
It was at 2-0 count, and I texted you guys, I heard my TV go crazy. It's like, man, I saw the 2-0 count, just thought in my head, Will's going to ground out right here.
Yeah.
And I left, but instead he went yard, so.
He seems like he's a little over aggressive at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I don't know, this is just my own personal thought, but
all your thoughts are personal.
I know, but this is like extra personal. Me and Will had some close connections here. No, I feel like after the home run derby when he was in the All-Star game, I think that ruined him. Like in a sense where it just changed his entire approach where it was like I'm a power hitter. I'm going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And before he was sitting for better average and he was getting on base and he wasn't trying to be that Mr. Slugger. And I don't want him to be the slugger.
I don't think it was the home run derby that did it, but that year definitely, that year definitely changed him.
Well, that year was his best year in a Padre uniform.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that year he was like, oh shit, I'm a power guy. Like I'm not the all around. Like
he had like a 26 year or something like that.
I get it out here. But well, all right. Speaking of Will, let's just do a quick breakdown of the Padres lineup. I mean, we don't really have to talk about the starters because I feel like we've said those are pretty solid with the 1 through 5.
The lineup maybe, or the starting 9, like the guys out there. So
let's do starting 9.
Gotcha.
Or do you want to do batting order? Or I feel
like both would be interesting. Like, because, I mean, I feel like the batting order, for the most part, I've been impressed with the way things have come out. But, like, we don't even actually have to go into detail. We should just talk about it briefly.
All right.
What are your thoughts on, like, Jace Tingler kind of experimenting? So right now we're looking at the lineup. There's some guys hitting a hot bat, like swinging a hot bat.
But they're staying down.
But they're staying down in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing hot bats out of the guys in the bottom of the lineup, but our meat and potatoes are Manny Machado and Tommy Pham. They aren't ripping the cover off the ball like you would think.
Yeah.
If you're Jace Tingler, are you like experimenting with that a little bit? Just kind of like, let's say, for me personally, I actually really like that first 2 tandem with Tatis. I
love that tandem.
And Grisham to start off. But like, let's experiment with like that 3-4 where Pham and Machado, they actually just switched them up in that last game where they moved Machado to the 4 and Pham to the 5 or to the 3. But what are your thoughts on, like, let's say Will Myers creeps up there and let's see, I don't know, you could even do like a Cronenworth or someone else.
So, obviously we're going to give tons of praise to the DH position. I think it needs to be heavily adopted throughout all of baseball. It's just exciting to see.
I was telling you before, I think it will.
Yeah.
I think this has been, I think NL fans are realizing how fun it is to watch. You have to value literally every at bat because you're not giving
you're not just expecting somebody at 9 and you're like, it's 2 outs and the 9 spots up and you're just like, all right, let's just go. We got 2 guys on, 2 outs, the 9 positions up. Fuck it, we're not scoring here.
You don't want to watch a guy take 3 strikes, basically.
But I will say I wish that Hosmer was around for this because even if he was able to still bat, maybe he can't play or whatever his issue is that he's going on. But
which is still a mystery to all of us.
Yeah, but I think if he comes back, I would plug him into, maybe like the 3-4, just kind of try to break that up a little bit. I will say it breaks the tradition of baseball because usually that 3-4 spot is your power guys, like the cleanup hitters, number 4. But going for like throwing like almost like Gray Garcia as one, moving Tatis Grisham down.
Yeah.
You're
definitely breaking the molds of the traditional lineup, whereas, you have your leadoff hitter is usually the guy who gets on base the most and he's really quick. And then your number 2 guy is probably your most natural hitter, the guy who gets on base the best. And then the number 3 guy is your best pure hitter, power, contact, everything. And then number 4 is literally your bopper, the guy who's going to hit 30 to 40 home runs each season.
Yeah. No, that's exactly.
And then number 5's kind of like a little similar to 4, where you're like,
I feel like the 5 hitter is similar to like the 1 or 2 hitter.
You think so?
Where it's
good
like
contact.
Yeah, it's like you got good contact. You're gonna get on base. You're gonna move runners if we still have guys on base, and number 4 couldn't drive them in.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. That's like my thinking of it. It's like 5's almost like a reset, but it's not your best contact guy. It's not your best speed guy. It's a combination of the two. But in all honesty, I'm not really touching the lineup.
Yeah, the lineup's killing it, to be honest.
I'm just stick with it. I will say I like Machado in the 3 spot better than the 4.
So he was very successful with
the 2 spot.
In the 2 spot with Baltimore. But we're seeing so much success from Grisham at the 2 spot. So, if I'm Tingler, I might even like run it by Grisham, like, hey, we're trying to get Manny out of this funk. Are you open to experimenting, moving up, and I'll throw you in like the 3 or 4 spot in the lineup, and I'm guarantee he'll say yes because he's a young player.
Yeah, team guy,
and he's going to be a team player. But I would run it by him, see if that's a possibility, because we got to get Manny going, because Manny is a massive part of this team. The guy's obviously getting paid like he's a massive part of the team.
And a massive part of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's making $300 million. You got to be hitting over whatever 220 or whatever he's hitting right now.
He's hitting 200 right now.
200, and his on base is like, I'm sure.
His on base.
That's why I can't get too mad.
660.
How much?
660.
660 is slugging. You're saying?
OPS, yeah, on base or
OPS is.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought that was.
That's actually not that good, but.
Sorry, I thought that was OBP. That's my fault.
Yeah,
I don't have the OBP.
I bet you his OBP is like 300, 310 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which he's still drawing a decent amount of walks. His batting average is lackluster, but he does still value plate appearances, and he's had some bad luck. The guy's hit a lot of liners, and that's something you can't control. You can control squaring up the ball. That's about it. Your job is to try to square the ball up as best you can.
Well, put the ball in play, good things happen, so.
I saw one of those things. Tatis is like, I think he's like top 5 in all baseball in, contact speed or whatever, like the exit velocity. That's the word. And that's just a sign of a guy who's squaring up the ball. He hit that one yesterday.
That was,
it was like 112 mile an hour exit velocity. And
that thing was a bomb.
I'm sure Dodger fans probably hated it because he kind of pimped that home run. And
I mean, anybody pimps that home run. That
you deserve to pimp that home run when you hit it that far.
That was a moonshot.
Yeah.
Like, he got all of it. He got all of that.
Yeah. So, overall, offensively, really, it's not been an issue for us.
No.
It's always good to have more production. So, that's why we bring up the argument of tinkering with the lineup. But overall, I've been very impressed with the lineup.
Yeah, and,
the production. I'm
sticking with it.
I think we lead baseball in RBIs and runs. we did a couple days ago. I don't know if that's still the case, but
Damn. All right, well, go Padres.
Yeah, it's the pitching that's been the issue.
Yeah,
it's primarily the bullpen.
That's leading off a bunch of runs.
And the starting pitching, I think on the back half could definitely be better, but
I will say it's the starting pitching. It continues to feel like you should have pulled him. You should have pulled him 2 outs ago. You should have pulled him at the beginning of the inning. It seems like it's
almost like it's mismanaged, and that Jace Tingler's almost giving too much respect for some of these players.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm not hating on the guy because he's showing that he's trying to earn that trust from his players.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we want to win games too.
Yeah. So there is that. I do get that feeling every time a starter leads off. A late inning with a lot of runs. I'm like, I was kind of questioning it beforehand, but
it was.
I can't fault you because the guy was doing well.
What game was that? Was that the Garrett Richards game, or I can't remember which one it was, but basically, I think that was the Lamet game actually, and Lamet had the bases loaded, I think, and then they hit a 2-run double. The Dodgers did.
Yeah, it was Lamet, and he had the no-hitter going into the 6th.
Yeah,
and then he
blew the no-hitter a couple of bats sooner, and then one of my coworkers texted me. He's like, "Hey, are you pulling Lamet here?" I'm like, "No matter what happens here, I am pulling him after this batter." And then he hit the 2-run double, and I was like, "Well."
I mean, you could be the head or the manager of the Padres with that mentality.
Yeah, I'm like,
because he did. I think he got pulled right after that.
He did because he gave the 2-run double, which obviously is the case. And even if he came out of that and didn't allow the run, it was just it was his time to be done. So,
all right. Well, let's run through because I know the podcast is running a little long, even just with the two of us. But I mean, I could talk Padres all day.
Yeah,
in all reality,
for sure.
You want to start catcher? Or you want to start right field? Where do you want to start?
You want to start? Yeah, let's start right field.
Right field. All right. I wanted to get the depth chart to make sure I get everybody here. So Will Myers is getting the start right now. In all honesty, I at first when Hosmer sat out and they put him on the 10-day DL. Huge fan of Olivares. I think he could have gotten potentially the nod to start out there. They put Will out there.
Or are you talking about first base?
And right field.
So
sorry. Let me back up. So Hosmer gets the 10-day DL. I thought it was interesting that they didn't put Will at first.
Gotcha.
Will has that history of playing first, and then Olivares goes to right field.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they decided to stick with Will in right field and then put Cronenworth at first. Obviously, they're pro scouts. They know better than I do, and clearly it shows. But
they did a good job too.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting that they did that. Obviously, we just talked about Will's bat, so I like him in right field for now, and I like him for the foreseeable future.
Without a doubt, Will's done well. I think he's earned a longer leash than what I was willing to give him going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And the bat, when the bat's producing, I'm willing to put up with his weenie arm in right field, and he did get that outfield assist in the Rockies game. I look at that as more as Daniel Murphy can't run for shit, and I don't know why he's being so aggressive on the base paths.
Yeah.
As a much respect to Will Myers, but any right fielder should be able to throw out Daniel Murphy on that play there.
We could throw out Daniel Murphy on that. Yeah. Our hand might have fallen off, but still we could have done it. But yeah, so right field, I like Will Myers there. You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Production wise, he's producing right now. I can't knock a guy who's producing. That's just a fact.
Agreed. Move over to center field. Trent Grisham's starting right now. I think really he is more or less like our only center fielder in the sense. Will Myers has played center, but he doesn't do a great job at kind of commanding that outfield. But
he's not even a good corner outfielder from a defensive perspective.
Yeah.
I think Trent Grisham's been a very pleasant surprise. He's flashed some leather too. He had those 2 big catches. I think they did the catch probability with the Amazon tracking. I don't know if you saw that.
No,
he had like 2 of them that were under 15% catch probability, and he came up with the catch.
Damn.
So the guy's very aggressive in center, which I like. I also don't like it in the sense that like there's times where he's being so aggressive that it comes back to bite him in the ass. And
I will say I feel like
I would rather have the guy be more aggressive, but it would be nice if he could taper back a little bit.
I do think he needs to find that balance because, like you said, he does get too aggressive sometimes. We saw it in the loss yesterday when he tagged up and he shouldn't have, but you know, another discussion.
He's young and he's really trying to make an impact. And
well, I think he is also trying to change that narrative of that error that he made in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He doesn't want people to remember that.
He wants to correct your wrongs.
Exactly. He's like, I want to change my reputation and be the guy that's overachieving and plays all his heart out. You know.
I like his little like countdown that he does when he hits his home runs. He's like, for each one, he does it like a finger. He's like, I wonder what happens if he gets to double digits. So he's like, he's got 11. He's going to go.
Yep.
Is that what he's going to do?
No, he's going to take his shoes off.
He's going to take his shoes off and do his big toe.
His big toe is one. So yeah, Trent Grisham there over in left field. I think this is not going to change all season. Tommy Pham. That's why we got him.
No matter how much he's struggling, he's pretty much penciled in at left field.
Yeah.
He's been like a massive. I mean, the production from a personnel standpoint, like the stats he's putting out there is not great, but I think he's been a massive culture change in the locker room, and that's invaluable at this point. And I think last week we were talking about how he, has been, struggling a little bit, and we're confident he's going to turn it around. Yeah. He started to turn it around in that Rocky series, and then now that Dodger series. Dodgers have great pitching too, to be fair, but he went back to the Tommy Pham of that, first couple series.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny because like last year we talked about how our outfield is such a logjam. We had, tons of names that aren't on our team anymore, but we just had that logjam. Now our outfield's kind of thinned out. We have our set guys, and really only our backups we have are Olivares and Naylor.
I think Cronenworth could probably play outfield too.
Yeah, Cronenworth too. He's always like a utility guy, and he deserves it with his bat.
Greg Garcia could probably throw him out there. Not an ideal scenario, but
if you needed to, if a guy needs a day, you could. But of the three, really just mainly of the two with Grisham and Myers, if you see a guy really struggling, who are you going to first? You going to Naylor first? You going to Olivares first?
Oh, dude, I've been so disappointed with Josh Naylor. I'm very down on him right now. Olivares would get the nod for me for sure. Just Naylor's I don't like his plate approach where he seems like he's swinging at bad pitches. He just seems like he's just kind of like.
I felt like that's what he was last year too, but he had the weight with him, so if he got a hold of one, it was going somewhere. Yeah. He's lost a lot of weight. He slimmed down, so
I just don't like his approach. Yeah. Like, he just seems like he's very aggressive on bad pitches, and he's taking good pitches, and you're like, I just don't.
He gets fooled very easily on those down and in pitches.
Yeah,
that's his sweet spot. He wants them down and in, but he gets fooled really easily.
He's very young though, so like I do feel like I'm being kind of an ass.
I think he might be our youngest player on our team.
No, I think I would probably I'm pretty sure it's Patino now, but it might be
Tatis
too. But I think it'd probably be those three. But still, he's still there. We have three guys who are in there like 20 or 21 years old, somewhere in that range.
Oh yeah, no, it's Tatis.
How old is he?
Tatis he was born on January 2nd, 1999.
Yeah, and
the day after New Year's Day. And Naylor is June 22nd, 97. So, yeah, he does have a
couple of years on him, yeah.
Yeah.
Or, about a year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half.
And then Patino's a 99 guy, too.
I agree, though. I think Olivares, I think I'm going to him first before Naylor. Naylor just hasn't proven a whole lot Like he's just not as
to
consistent.
me. It's like you got to maximize your opportunities, and I don't feel like Naylor is doing that. Like I don't even think it doesn't feel like he's even trying. Like I know it's messed up to say because I'm sure he is trying, but it doesn't. Just from the outsider's perspective, it looks like he's not valuing at bats, and I'm like, dude, you only get a couple at bats. You're riding the bench right now. Like those at bats should be gold for you right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's move into the infield. Third base, lock, Manny Machado. No argument there, regardless of whatever he does.
Left side of the infield. You could throw Tatis in that mix too.
Tatis, lock again. Moving over to second base. Second baseman, our main second baseman that we thought has kind of struggled, Jurickson Profar. Greg Garcia is doing phenomenally.
Really well, yeah.
He might have like the highest average on our team or competing for the highest
He's got like
average.
a 300 plus batting average.
Yeah. I think, Profar's getting the nod at the start at second base the majority of the days. I think that's mainly because he can switch hit. So it's kind of pairing up.
Yeah, I feel like Greg Garcia is the guy you want against righties because he's that left-handed bat. But I think Profar's got more pop in his bat. And I don't know if that's just what the Padres are looking for. Profar's done a great job walking, but I feel like Greg Garcia has fantastic plate discipline. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he's not a guy who I look at him like, you are incredibly talented. No, it's more like, no, you play the game the right way. You draw walks. You make contact when you need to. You're never going to hit that 450-foot home run, but every once in a while you might square up and hit one that 350 or something like that. Like,
yeah, you might pull one down the line.
He's definitely more of that contact hitter, and that's what we need. We have boppers. We have guys who can drive and like hit the ball out of the ballpark. We have probably because I could throw Grisham in that mix now too.
Yeah,
all three of our outfielders could hit it out, and the left side of our infield can hit it out. And I think Hosmer's got
if Mejia's catching, he can hit it out too.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think we don't need the guy who can hit it out anymore. I think Greg Garcia's. I've been very impressed. I mean, I like the guy. He's a local guy too. Played for El Capitan High School, and we always hear that every single time we talk about it. And so I just like his approach. That's more than anything. But Profar's got a great approach too. So, but I think Greg Garcia's got the results that we're looking for, where he's drawing contact. I think last night we were talking about it. Profar up first batter in the ninth inning against the Dodgers, down 2 runs. Guy squares up and rips one foul, and then he starts swinging for the fence.
His whole mentality changed after that hit.
Yeah, and I feel like if that was Greg Garcia, he's trying to get a base hit there or draw a walk.
If Greg Garcia hit one that far in his first swing, he's like, damn, I really got a hold of that one, but I'm still trying to go opposite field here.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Got lucky as shit there.
Like, dang, he's more or less thinking like, oh man, I barely missed that one. All right, well, let's get back into it. Or Profar was like, oh, I barely missed that one. I could get another one.
Greg Garcia, he was raised properly. Let's put it that way. He came up through the Cardinals organization, and Cardinals always do a fantastic job developing their players.
Yeah.
And I think that's clearly resonated. And I think Greg Garcia is one of those guys I definitely see at some point being a manager, or like as some form of a manager, whether it's a hitting coach, bench coach, even a base coach.
Yeah, that's a great take. I like that. I agree with that. All right, we'll finish it off. These last 2 positions I feel like are going to have a lot of argument in them, or a lot of conversation in them. First base, we got Jake Cronenworth, who's been getting the start with Eric Hosmer on that 10-day IL, like I mentioned. Kid's been playing amazing, taking advantage of every at-bat that he gets. He's flashing the leather over at first base, too, looking like a natural, like you said. I think for the time being, he deserves to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, he's, without a doubt, he's the guy you're penciling in every night for first base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not throwing Will Myers or Josh Naylor there.
What about Ty France? Ty France has played first for us a few games.
Yeah, and Ty France has done a decent job too with the bat.
But he's got a bigger sample size.
But Jake Cronenworth's he's dazzled. Yeah, he's looked great, and I mean, until Hosmer comes back, he should have first base locked up. Hosmer is our first baseman, so when Hosmer comes back, Cronenworth will be either DHing or he's going to be playing a utility role, filling in when guys need a day off, and that sucks for him. But I mean, we didn't commit the 8-year deal that we did to Hosmer just to give him over to Jake Cronenworth because he's had 2 really good weeks with the ball club.
I will say I misspoke earlier off pod. He does throw righty, or he is a right-handed thrower. So I do think that he's a solid plug at second base when Hosmer comes back.
I would throw him. Yeah, I would.
You know what I mean? Like that seems like the perfect fit right there after he comes back.
I do think the ball club has a lot of respect for Jurickson Profar because I feel like
they went after him.
Yeah, they're giving him a pretty long leash. I know Preller loves him because that's his baby.
The Rays.
No, with the Rangers.
The Rangers, sorry.
Yeah. I think I've been impressed with Cronenworth for sure.
Definitely. All right, well, that was solid. Catching now. It seems like it's more split time. Kind of Austin Hedges is getting the nod more. You know, for me, I think that I've been saying it. I think it's time to just move on from Austin Hedges. I think Mejia is a definite serviceable catcher, and he gets the job done. He's not. I've just seen a lot of pass balls by Hedges. There's been like 3 or 4 pass balls from Hedges that it's like they hit your glove, but you're known to be the best defensive catcher. You need to get there. Even if you're looking for like down and away and it's up and in, you need to get there.
Yeah. I think our expectations are so high for him defensively that anytime he fucks up, we notice it. But at the same time,
well, it's like that
100 batting average ain't getting it done.
But that's what I mean. It's like that's all we need from you is defense. So when it's like obviously he's different,
made some
but
fantastic plays though, like with his glove.
I think about it like a kicker in the NFL. You catching back there are like field goals. You should hit every single one. You know, obviously there's a lot that goes into it, and you got to practice. And I'm not saying anybody can do it.
Yeah.
But when you're the Adam Vinatieri of catchers, you need to make every single one.
Yeah.
You need to catch every one.
You might be looking at some of the ones that I haven't seen, but he's had some where the pitcher has missed in location so badly that he's going from one side of it to all the way to the other, and that ball's gotten by him. And not saying there's an excuse why he hasn't made that catch, but I mean, he's a human being too, so he's not going to make everything.
No, I get that.
But
no, yeah, I'm not saying he needs to be like Spider-Man back there.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time,
yes,
if those pitches are getting past you, those pitches are getting past Mejia too, and
yeah,
you know what I mean.
At this point, neither of them have done a great job with their bat.
No, that's for
and that's
sure.
a fact.
I
have more confidence that Mejia can get it going with his bat, but at the same time, right now you're looking at production wise, both of them are producing the same. They both have that 100 batting average, and
was Mejia hitting one? No, Mejia hasn't got a hit yet.
Yeah, he is.
Has he?
Yeah, both him and Hedges finally got it this week.
Oh, this is the preview against the
but
Diamondbacks.
Either way, I just think Hedges is valuable in some capacity. I look at him as maybe not the future of our ball club, but he could be the future backup catcher for this ball club on a contending team. And you could use that elite glove when you're winning. And I think that's kind of the plan they're going with. But
it seems to be.
But Mejia hasn't taken advantage of it. And that's the frustrating part is we know Mejia's got a good bat, but he hasn't been delivering. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. You would hope that Mejia would steal this, like take this position and run with it, and he's not, and it's kind of frustrating. So Hedges just hanging out there. That's where we're at with that position,
Yeah.
and it's been futile. Like
Yeah.
outside of that Hedges had that big RBI single that put him up in that game against the Dodgers, but outside of that, it's just like just tack on an out at this point. Like
Yeah,
they're not even going to work the count. They're just going to strike out.
It's almost like put the DH in for our catcher and let the pitcher hit. You know, like maybe they'll get lucky.
Maybe the pitcher will do a better job.
At least the pitcher's swinging with all hell.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and Hedges has that, like his swing looks robotic.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a good
approach. It looks
approach.
like he's like trying to like tee off. Like it's almost like a golf swing, but like horizontally.
No, it's literally like he's hitting off of a tee, like a baseball batter's tee. Like he's just in the cage, constantly right there. That's my movement. That's my motion. Like, I don't know. I haven't been impressed. I'm not impressed with Hedges, and I don't think he deserves to get the everyday start.
No,
I think
I don't think he should be. You think Mejia deserves it? I want Mejia to do well. Mejia's got to start delivering. I'm okay with the 50-50 timeshare until Mejia steals the job.
Yeah. I just think they need to commit and give Mejia the long leash. Let him get a solid series under his belt.
Yeah.
Without being subbed out, and let him get the full series starting all the way through and see how you do, get your rhythm down.
That is one of the things with, I don't know if you want to call that Preller or Tingler who's pulling the strings on it, but it does seem like they don't give these guys, like they kind of play with them. Like it's the Patino thing where it's like, well, we're having you start out in the bullpen. You're like, well, he's a natural starter, so like let him start. Like that's my thought, and it's like that's kind of the same thought with Mejia, where it's like, well, he's a everyday catcher, and you're playing him every other day, so he's not really building up that routine and that
or you're subbing him in. You're subbing him in the 7th inning.
Yeah,
like cold off the bench. Hey, get out there.
Yeah, and it's hard to build good habits that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I only played baseball in high school, and I only played 3 years of high school ball, so I can't really say a whole lot to college and past that. But I did DH in a couple games, and it is so hard. You have so much respect for guys that can come off the bench of just sitting there watching an entire game, not really being involved in the game whatsoever, to just, hey, get up there and get us a hit. Like, that is such a tall task to ask somebody, and to just basically say, hey, man, you're in now for the rest of the game. For the next 2 innings, you're in, and you got to do something for us. Like, one, it's a lot of pressure, and two, it's hard to get your momentum going when you're cold off the bench.
It's like, so like for a basketball analogy, they have these guys who come in, they're spot up shooters.
Yeah.
They haven't shot the basketball in like an hour. And then all of a sudden they kick them the ball and they have 2 seconds to get the ball off on a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
And if they miss it, they suck. If they hit it, they're good. And it's just kind of like, that's a lot of pressure because you're going from not having any muscle movement of to having to do it. It's just the same thing. It's literally the same thing.
It's the same thing. And yeah, it's another great analogy of how these guys have to come in. So I think that Mejia deserves like a solid series of try to go out and do it. And it's hard to say that because we're on a short season and every game counts and you need to win every single game. You want to put your best foot forward, but
they've been giving Mejia a very short leash, I feel
very
like.
Short. Both catchers have a very short leash.
Well, I feel like Hedges has gotten pretty. I feel like I'm seeing his name in the lineup more.
I think it's just easy to get Hedges out there because you're not expecting anything from him. Like you just need him to catch a good game, frame good balls, get us strikes that are balls, make sure nobody steals on us, that kind of thing. But when you're on the offensive side, we're not really expecting a whole lot. If you can put the ball in, go for it, but you're not here for that.
Yeah, and that's, for the most part, that's the catcher's position overall, where you're hoping the catcher can get it done defensively more than with their bat. But if you have a catcher who can get it done with a bat, you want to definitely take advantage of that.
Well, those guys are gold.
That's my main thought is I want Mejia to be that guy, but he hasn't been that guy. And so it's been very difficult for me to just be like, yeah, Mejia's our guy. I'm not just because he's got a good scouting report in the minors where I'm like, yeah, I know you got a great bat in the minors.
Yeah, but so did Hedges.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dude was a 400 hitter down there.
That's my thought behind the whole thing. Is it's like I just really would love for one of them to finally deliver with the bat, and neither has, and it's a little frustrating. But we've been getting production from other players in the lineup, so I can't complain too much. But
I agree.
Like I said, I don't know if that's still the case, but we lead the league in runs scored.
Yeah.
We had more RBIs and runs scored than any other team in baseball. That's impressive. That's usually not the case for the Padres. It's usually the Padres are top 5 in pitching, but they can't score any runs.
Yep.
They're in that bottom third of all baseball teams in scoring runs.
And now it's like the opposite.
Yeah, and that's literally the exact opposite. I think the Padres are like 20th in ERA or something like that, and they're bats are number 1 from a run production standpoint. Well, to be fair, they've also played probably more games than most teams too, but still. I still feel like they score like 5 to 6 runs a game.
They do a great job. I mean, they've done a great job this year with not being out of games. Even when it looks like they're out of games, they fight back, and that's really what you want out of a young ball club. You just want them to continue to battle and to not give up.
Really, yeah, I can only think of one game. It would have been 2, but they started to claw back in that Rockies finale.
Yeah.
That second game was a blowout, but every other game has been competitive on both fronts, where the Padres have had a lead and they won the game, or they've been trailing and then they lost the game
by a close margin.
So yeah, every game is close margin, and that's partially the bullpen's played a big role in that too, because they'll have a big lead and then the bullpen lets it up. And
yeah. But all right, everybody, I think next week it would be great if we do a Padres bullpen ranking. I think that was fun how we did each position. I think next week we should do a bullpen and just kind of go through there. But everybody, thank you for listening. We'll be back to full strength next week with Ryan here, and we will see you next week.
Later.
Bye.